Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Wednesday, February 18th. So, what are we talking about today? Well, I thought we'd talk about the hidden costs of free advice. Simply put, right? Stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of February of 2026. So, what are we talking about today? No, it's not my videos of how to and stuff. You have to really stay on point if you're running a shop, okay? Because you're going to get those people that show up or call and start asking you questions. And what they're doing is they're looking for free advice of how to fix their own. And Claude was very guilty of this, and I had to tag him. Is I see a customer out there talking to him, and then they would leave. And I said, what did they want? Well, they were just wondering about how to, they were having problems with this or this or this, and I told them to try this. And I'm like, Claude, why? And he goes, well, I'm just trying to help them out. I said, yeah, but you're costing the shop money, right? Every time you give out free advice, that piece of equipment is not coming into the shop. Now, I'm not saying to be, Scrooge McDuck and not be helpful to thy friends and thy neighbors and this and that. No, not at all. But most people's profession, if you have somebody that is a stock investor and he invests stock for you, and then you're asking for some free stock tips so that you can go out and invest yourself instead of using him, he's kind of shooting himself in the foot, right? But there's also other aspects of that too. He's not only shooting himself in the foot, but you're shooting yourself in the foot for asking him. Because even if I go home after he gives me a couple stock tips and I don't understand how the market works, I can actually get in over my head fast. And that's what happens with free advice. People will come and ask you how to fix something that they have no business trying to fix. And what ends up happening is a simple fix on that lawnmower or that snowblower or that weed trimmer or that chainsaw by one of us that have skilled hands that could knock it out in maybe 10 minutes could end up costing that homeowner that machine because they'll start tearing into it. And the assumption is, here's the assumption, the assume makes an ass out of you and me, that you assume that that person has some knowledge of what you're telling them. And most times they don't. They don't have the skill set that you have. If they did, they'd be doing it themselves, right? So they go home and they start tearing apart that piece of equipment, whether it be a chainsaw, snowblower, lawnmower. And the next thing you know, they're showing up with a box of pieces saying, can you fix it? That's the cost of being helpful to other people. And when they bring that box in, my normal thing is absolutely not. If you'd have brought it to us in the first place, we could have fixed this for probably a little bit of nothing. But now that you brought it all in pieces and we have to put it back together and we have to figure out, are there any pieces missing because you left them on the garage floor that the car ran over, you start getting costly. So it's not just simply, if you tell a customer, if you tell them a little bit of free advice that you're not going to get any of their work. I'm not so concerned about that as I am the one carrying the box of crap in. Because they've tried and they found out that it's not as easy as it looks. The one thing that I find with Claude and with most mechanics is that they assume, and I do the same thing with business owners, I assume that they have some background knowledge. So I skip over a lot of stuff. And that's one thing that I tell you guys here on the channel is if you have a pointed question that you want answered, say it. Because a lot of times I think I know who my demographic is here on the channel, but it's some from just people very inexperienced that are enjoying the channel, the camaraderie, to you guys that are very experienced, you know. But they say when you're trying to teach somebody, you teach at the lowest level. That way everybody gets it, right? But if you're trying to teach at the lowest level to someone shopping around for free advice on how to fix something, you aren't. And Claude's got a history of that. He doesn't talk at the lowest level. He talks it like you should know what you're doing. So here's a couple simple things to try. And even though it sounds Greek to the other person, they run home to try it. And they don't. Claude leaves out a lot of steps that are in there that to test and that he does to test things. It's okay to want to be helpful, okay? But when it comes to your livelihood, you have to kind of set the line in the sand. And I have to do this with family members too. Is you have a job, you get paid for a job. What if somebody told you that, okay, you're not going to get paid the 40 hours this week, you're only going to get paid 37 because we don't have the work here? You would have a fit. Or if you worked overtime and they said, no, we're going to pay you straight time, you'd have a fit. But you don't see a problem with asking me to take time out of my day that I could be working on stuff, making money, to work on your stuff and then expect it for free. It doesn't work that way. You know, do I help family and friends out? Absolutely. Do I help people in the community that pro bono is what I call it? Do I give stuff away is to help people? Yes, of course I do. Because I feel like whatever I put out will come back twofold. So if I put out good, then hopefully I'll get twofold good back. But if I don't, it's going to be a hell of a ride, at the very least, right? I value relationships with people, but I also understand that you have to have boundaries. And the boundaries are, and you have to have this spelled out. And it doesn't mean that you need to go putting things all over the wall so your employees see it. It just simply means sitting down and having a talk and getting everybody's input into it and coming to a finalized, how are we going to approach this when this happens? And the best approach is, now in our shop, now we don't give out free advice. We don't. And I've shown Claude and I've shown myself by doing so, we end up costing the customer more money than if we just told them bring it in and we'll take a quick look at it for you. They're there shopping for advice because they don't want to pay you to fix it. But they want you to tell them how to fix it, right? It would be like me wanting to work on my new Dodge. I'm clueless. I can change oil in it. I can add antifreeze. I can add a windshield washer fluid. I can check the tires. You know, I can put gas in it. But when it comes to anything internal, no, it's going to go to a Dodge garage where it belongs with a guy that works on them all day long. Something that would take him 15 to 20 minutes to figure out, I could spend weeks. And I could end up tearing my truck all apart. And then I'm in trouble, right? Because now the truck ain't worth nothing left because you've taken a hammer to it because it pissed you off. So if you find yourself giving people advice, or if you find that people are stopping quite a lot talking to your mechanic, good chances are is he's giving out what he thinks is free, friendly advice when it's not friendly. It is detrimental to the people that are asking because they don't have enough common sense and enough knowledge in that industry of how things work. And here's the worst part of it, is what if somebody gets hurt from trying something that you told them to do? That would be the ultimate sin to me anyways. The last thing I want is for anyone to get hurt on something that I put my hands on and that I was to fault for. We talk about when you're running a shop, liability insurance. If you're going to deal with the manufacturers, most of them require a $5 million liability rider policy. And what does that mean? That means they want, because you're going to be the front line, all right? So if you're a warranty shop for Briggs, Kohler, MTD, any of those, all right, and it comes in, and you do something to that machine to make it unsafe, and that the homeowner takes it home and gets hurt on it, they're coming for your ass. At least here in the States. Thus, the $5 million policy. And, when it comes to safety in the shop, I mentioned this before, and I harp on it because I think it's so, so important. Because a lot of mechanics are saying, oh, that's not a big deal. If a machine comes in and the safety switches are disabled and you don't do anything about it and you send it right back out because you're going to say, well, I didn't do that. You also didn't do your job. Your job is to make sure that piece of equipment is as safe as possible. And as I've explained to Claude before, the way we're going to do it is if they have a screw in the seat switch with it so they can get off the mower and not have it shut off, I'm taking the screw out. You're taking the screw out. We've got the little tiny Ziploc bags that we put bills in during the wet weather and snowy weather so it doesn't get wet, the bill. Put the screw in that and zip tie it to the seat. And if the owner wants to put it back in there, that's their prerogative. If not, that's fine. But don't let that machine go back out. Because that tells me if you didn't spot those and check those, you weren't doing your front to back, top to bottom on that. You're not doing mechanics work. And you're not checking everything. Nobody's perfect. But the ultimate sin in my shop is if you send something out with a safety switch disabled, we got problems. Because they're going to come after me. And they're going to come after you. And not only are they going to come after the business, they're going to come after that mechanic that oversaw, that didn't catch it and didn't do anything about it. It doesn't matter that the homeowner is the one that put the screw in it to start with. You were the last ones with the hands on it. And what happens if the homeowner's granddaughter goes out and gets on it and it starts right up and she falls off and the lawnmower's still going? You see what I'm saying? You got to think. And when you're, as a mechanic, you can't think as just a mechanic. You have to think of your shop and your business. And if you're the mechanic and employee, that you need to think of that company and that business owner to protect them. Simply saying, well, I didn't put it there, doesn't fly. Okay? But that goes the same with a customer stopping and asking you how to disable it. And then you telling them how to disable it. That's just as bad because they go home and do it. And guess what? If they get hurt on it, they're going to say, Eric said this is how to do it, so I did it. And I didn't realize it was, don't even start. Because I can tell you right now, this hombre didn't say squat when it came to how to disable anything. I'm not that dumb. I wasn't born yesterday. So if somebody's asking me how to bypass something, I'm going to say, I don't know. And it's not my place to know, even though I do know. Because I know how everything in the system works. And why it works the way it does. Safety switches were put in place because some idiot got hurt. And the manufacturer is trying to make it as safe as possible. I mean, years ago, you could have a lawnmower running, get off the seat with the blade still running, and some yo-yo stepped through and probably got his foot caught in the blades. So the safety switch in the seat is supposed to act as if that person's weight comes off that seat, the machine shuts off immediately. The blades shut off immediately so that some idiot doesn't get hurt. It comes down to the kind of the idea of McDonald's where they got sued by that lady for the coffee being hot. Coffee is hot. Hot. Right? Unless you're drinking ice cold iced coffee like my wife likes. But when I have coffee, it's hot. And I know it's hot. I even add a little creamer to it to cool it down a little bit. But to sue somebody because their coffee was hot and then make millions of it, yeah, I heard that the heat was a little high and it blistered a little bit. Okay. But I guess it's just to show case in point that it does happen. It still happens. People are so happy. It's kind of like winning the lottery. If they can sue you and get a couple $1,000,000, it's got better odds than if you went and played the New York State lottery, if you get my meaning on it. So, coming back around, free advice. Most often, it costs that customer more money in the end. Our policy at our shop is we don't give out free advice. If somebody asks us how to do something, we simply say, bring it by, we'll take a quick look at it, and we'll get it fixed for you. They're trying to avoid that diagnostic fee, even though the diagnostic fee could be dropped if it was a simple fix. Have I had customers show up after I've done a service on something and there's something minor going wrong and they come back with their trailer with it on 2 weeks later and it's something that we had nothing to do with, but it's a simple fix? Have I been known to go out and fix it right there on the trailer and not charge them? Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe in treating your customers well, okay? But you're doing a disservice to your customer if you're giving them out free advice. You're doing a disservice to the shop if you're telling other people how to fix stuff instead of having it come through the doors to pay for the shop. A lot of times employees don't look at this. Employees look at, well, I'm always going to have a job. No, you're not. If you keep giving out free advice where people stop coming, guess who's the first one to go? You're going. Because the shop owner can't afford to keep you on. But then if you're the shop owner and the mechanic all in one with two hats, it's okay to help customers with the minor stuff, quick fixes, to get them going. And not charge them. They'll come back. But to tell them how to fix it, and then they go home, and then they bring you back a box of stuff that we don't allow in our shop. They could have been a quick fix if we put our hands on it. It's now costing the customer quite a bit more. I guess is what I'm getting at. What are your thoughts on that, you guys, in the comments? Do you offer free advice to potential customers and regular customers? My guess, with the caliber of people I've got here on this channel, that most of you would help out anybody, and you don't mind helping one of your customers for free if it's a quick fix, because if you treat them right, you treat them the way you would hope to be treated, they'll keep coming back. Most of my customers, I would say, are in that handyman stage. They probably could do it, but they're so busy at work that they don't want to take the time to do it. They don't want to get dirty. On that note, you guys have a great Wednesday. We'll see you here bright early tomorrow morning for another episode of the weekday. Enjoy your day.